Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at Airbnbs versus hotels. Now I know that there have been endless discussions online. However, I am going to be giving an objective point of view. My background is in hospitality. I've worked in numerous hotels and I'm also an Airbnb host. I love staying in hotels, but I also do love staying in Airbnbs. So let's get into it. All right, so the first category we're going to explore is location. Now, hotels are typically located in prime real estate areas. And let's just say you're going to Las Vegas and you need to be on the strip, then definitely book a hotel. However, in some cities, hotels do not necessarily have a competitive advantage when it comes to location. Let's take, for example, Kingston. Most, if not all the hotels, there's an apartment complex opposite or adjacent to the hotels that has units that are being utilized for Airbnb. Also, I remember living in Crystal City in Northern Virginia, and if I can find a view from my balcony, I'll insert a picture. But there, I remember seeing probably like 2 Marriott hotels and a Hilton hotels, and this is from my balcony at my apartment. So there was no real advantage in terms of who had the better location. Also, it's very important to note that not everyone cares to be in the city. Many persons travel on a yearly basis to remote places because they want this off the beaten path experience. I remember we're in 2023 now, so in around 2021, my sister, my dad, and I, we visited Irish Town, which is in the Blue Mountains of Jamaica, and we went to an Airbnb property. And I remember speaking to the property manager, and he was telling us that a lot of writers actually stay there. So they visit from different parts of Jamaica and also overseas to come there, and they get inspiration to really tap into their talent. So when it comes to location, I have to give it to the both of them. It all depends on why you're traveling. That location can really matter. Oh, and I have to plug my apartment because it's located opposite the National Stadium. So if it is a case where you are visiting the stadium for a sporting event or for a concert, this property, this complex will actually beat other hotels in terms of getting there, because you don't have to factor transportation. It's literally exiting the gate, crossing the road, boom, you reach. You don't have to factor no parking, nothing like that. You're there. So the next area that we're going to be looking at is safety and security. Now, hotels have been in existence from ancient of days. Like in the Bible, they were referred to as inns. Like Mary and Joseph, they were looking for an inn to give birth. And so they would have had centuries to develop and perfect the security and safety system of hotels. Many hotels actually have a security department or they outsource security, but they have some sort of standard operating procedures that they have to adhere to. Additionally, they also have safety plans, whether it is fire alarm safety, sprinkler system in the rooms, carbon monoxide detectors. Whereas for Airbnbs, you find that security differ from one listing to another. So one listing may be located in a gated complex with 24-hour security, or another may be protected by a home security system, say for example a King Alarm or a Simply Safe or a Brinks, but that is not the case in all Airbnb properties. Additionally, remember that Airbnb started out as literally air, meaning air mattress, B&B, bed and breakfast. And so there is still the option where you can be in a home and the host also is in that same home at that same time. And that can be potentially dangerous to both the host and the guests. So when it comes to safety and security, I definitely have to give that one to the hotels. All right, so the next topic we're gonna explore is amenities. Now I know many persons are gonna scream, hotels, but I'm actually gonna break this down into 2 specific categories. So for on-property amenities, then I will give this one to hotels, considering the fact that we're speaking about mid-range and luxury properties, because there's actually 3 categories of hotels. You have a mid-range, you have a luxury, and then beneath that you have what you call limited, or some persons may call it budget or economy properties. And these properties, they have 0 frills. So just imagine watching a Lifetime movie. Girl is trying to escape the guy. She's on the highway, she's getting super tired, happens to look up, there's a hotel, takes the exit, checks in, but the hotel is super bare, no restaurant on site, probably just a vending machine, and then probably next door there may be some fast casual or fast food restaurants like a Denny's or a IHOP. So, but with mid-range and luxury properties, you will definitely find amenities on board that will pull your registered guests. For example, a spa, a pool, a gym, restaurants, even sometimes high-end shopping outlets may be on property. However, when it comes to the in-unit, I have to give that one to Airbnbs. They usually have a larger space. You may find that you have a decent sized refrigerator. You may have an actual kitchen that you can use. So you have the option if you want to eat out or you want to cook. You have a microwave, which, listen, a microwave is so dear to me when traveling. I remember staying in Las Vegas with my sister and we wanted to heat up some food and we didn't have access to a microwave. And even sometimes to try and get a microwave, you probably have to rent it for your stay, and the cost will actually supersede the food that you were trying to heat. So it makes no sense, right? So I definitely have to give Airbnbs the point for in-room amenities, but then hotels the point for on-property amenities. All right, so the next thing we're going to be looking at is value for money, and Airbnbs are generally cheaper than hotels. Yes, I know when the cleaning fee and the taxes add up with the nightly rate, sometimes you're like, what is this? But at the same time, you're getting a far bigger space, larger square footage. You may have access to a full kitchen. In some Airbnbs, you have access to laundry facilities. And if you think about it, you may pay under $200 for a particular, maybe I say a one bedroom apartment on Airbnb. But if you were to take up that same one bedroom apartment with the same furnishings and everything and put it in a hotel, that money, that room, that space would now be called a suite, and it could charge you sometimes close to $1,000, sometimes over $1,000 US. So you do get more value for your money staying at an Airbnb. So I will give that one to Airbnb. Now, this particular point completely slipped me while recording, but I did want to highlight unique experiences. Now, there are many hotels across the world that offer unique experiences to their guests, such as the Giraffe Manor in Kenya, which happens to be on my bucket list. However, for Airbnb, they categorize their unique experiences with tiny homes, cabins, tropical islands, swimming pools, giant pianos. There's even a luxe options for persons who really want an high-end experience by having a butler, a private chef, private transfers, and also I recently found a category called castles, which I thought was completely cool. So for unique experiences, Airbnb definitely wins in this category. So the next category we're going to be looking at is loyalty benefits. Now, hotels obviously win this category. Hotels have been in existence again for a very long time, and so many hotels, say for example, Hilton was established I believe in 1919, Marriott in 1927. So these hotels have loyal customers and they have developed their loyalty programs, Marriott Bonvoy, Hilton Honors, you have IHG rewards, and so there are perks with staying at these properties because you can accumulate points which can lead to amazing benefits such as free nights, free breakfast, just a personalized, very exclusive type of feeling, late checkouts when you stay at these properties. So of course, Airbnb, they can't compare when it comes to loyalty programs. All right, so definitely hotel wins in this area. So now we're going to be talking about personalized / pampered service. So if you were to enter a hotel's lobby at 3 a.m. in the morning, there's going to be a representative there to assist you because they provide 24-hour customer service. Most hotels often offer room service, they offer housekeeping service, and to be honest, it's such a nice feeling after a long day of work, or even if you are just chilling by the hotel's pool at a resort all day long and you have now entered your room, you're greeted by a well-made bed. And if you're a little messy and you kind of kick off your shoes and you come back and you find your shoes neatly tucked to your side, mentally it does something for you and you're just ready to relax and to sleep, right? However, for Airbnbs, sometimes your hosts, they don't even live in the same city or country as the listing that you're currently staying at. And if there's an emergency, there is a possibility that there may be a gap in terms of response time. So when it comes to personalized experience, I give that to hotels. There are Airbnbs that do an excellent job in providing a personalized experience for their guests, but overall the hotel will take the point where that one is concerned. All right, so the next one we're going to examine is which is best for solo travelers. To be honest, this really and truly just boils down to the individual. What I will say is that Airbnbs is better for persons who are self-sufficient. So if you have no problems getting around before you get to that destination, you kind of look up and say, this is where I want to go, this is how I'm gonna get there, whether I'm gonna take a local cab or I'm gonna take a car rental, and you just kind of do your own thing. But if that's not you, and if you need confirmation and to ask questions all the time, then I would say go to a hotel where you have someone there 24 hours that will assist you. You may have a concierge, you will have the front desk, they can call that taxi for you. I would definitely recommend you staying at a hotel if you're a little bit more on the cautious side. However, if you kind of march to the beat of your own drum, you're very free-spirited, these things don't really matter to you, you feel safe enough where you are staying, then the Airbnb can work just as fine for you. So for both, I would say it's a toss-up between the two. So for groups, I'm going to also break this down into two categories. So if we're talking about smaller groups, let's say 6 to 10, I prefer Airbnbs. And then if it is a larger group, of course, if you're thinking about a family reunion, a class reunion, like a fraternity reunion, definitely you have to go with a hotel. You may need excess of 10 rooms. That's a whole room block right there. But for smaller groups, Airbnbs are usually more ideal because once everybody puts in their money, then the cost significantly decreases. You have a much bigger space, you have a common area. You don't have to worry about if your rooms are going to be all over the place, because that may be an issue sometimes when checking into a hotel. So your room is guaranteed, but then it depends on where they assign you and availability. You may end up being on 2 different towers. You may be floors apart, which may not be ideal for your group. So with Airbnbs, I remember staying in Atlanta, Georgia for the Christmas with my family. We rented this beautiful 3-bedroom apartment, and we just had our common spaces that we came, we had dinner, we cooked, we had fun. But then of course, when it's time to sleep, we were all in the same space, but of course in different rooms. My friends and I will also spend time at Turtleness Villa. We booked that on Airbnb, that is in Treasure Beach in Jamaica. And it was just nice having an entire space by ourselves. We didn't have to share the pool with anybody. We took our own little photo shoot, and we didn't have to worry about people just walking behind us and, having to kind of small up ourselves, right? And again, we had our own rooms, but then again, when it is time to just bond, we could come into that living room and have fun. But then for our trip in 2022, we went to Panama and we stayed in a hotel. And I do remember during check-in, and we asked the front desk agent to say, hey, is it possible for our rooms to be together? The person was like, let's see. I mean, it worked out, but the reality is it could have been the opposite, right? So I do prefer Airbnbs, and especially from a cost factor, and again, the value for money. But then of course, with larger groups, hands down, stay at a hotel. All right, so last but not least, we're going to be talking about extended stays. And this is where Airbnbs will definitely have an advantage over hotels as well. So again, once you're staying in a space for an extended period of time, this is when you're definitely going to need like a full-size kitchen, because you're not going to want to eat out all the time. You're going to want to have a decent sized refrigerator to store your various food items and leftovers. You may need an in-unit laundry. And so again, remember, if you were to take up an Airbnb and place it in a hotel, that would be super expensive. So staying in an Airbnb for a very long period, it will cost you far less. I remembered moving to the States, and I was pretty much living in a hotel. At this point, it was going like 3 weeks. And I remember just checking in the first day, and I was like, upside, inside out, living the vida loca. And then after a while, I was like, I want to cook my own food, and I want to do my laundry and not have to go to a next planet, because that's how far the distance feel when you're like walking with all this dirty linen, right? But it works out far better when you have the option to just cook and to just do your laundry in a specific space. And so yes, I definitely think when it comes to extended stay, Airbnbs, they have the point where that is concerned. All right guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.